Okay, so here's another stupid geek trick. So what I'm playing with today for one of the classes that's going to be coming up is a weather API. So for my students, I want to start showing them different APIs that might actually have real functional value for them, so they can start parsing that information and figuring out how to create products. So I think the weather API is kind of interesting, especially in the modern world, as basically a way to give additional context to environmental circumstances for employees, right? So imagine you have an installation company, right? A cable installation company or roofers, I don't know, something along those lines. Imagine if you had a little server that could go out and pull basically weather reports, and when your installation crews come in the morning, you could have a big like LCD screen up on the wall, and if it was going to rain that day, it would say, remember to bring your raincoat. Or if it's going to be hot that day, it would say, remember to bring enough water. Beyond that, if you connect this to messaging systems, something like Twilio or something like that, imagine if it's a hot day, that every hour or so your server literally sends an SMS message to like a field team leader, to like whoever is running your lawn mowing crew or whatever else, basically reminding them to remind their employees to drink water and requesting acknowledgement. Right? Hey, make sure your people are drinking water and acknowledge that you have made sure that people are drinking their water, right? That kind of thing. That's useful in the real world. So anyways, again, the Open Weather API is a pretty interesting way to do that. But the issue is you need your location for this to work, right? So if you're dealing with the smartphone, right, you're used to having like a GPS, something like that in your device. But if you're dealing with just a server or a desktop computer or something like that, you're not necessarily going to have GPS. So the question is how do you get your geographic location? Well, the cool thing is that IP addresses will actually give you your geographic location and a whole bunch of other interesting stuff, right? So today we're going to be using IP info for when we get over to the code, but this shows us, for the 8.8.8.8 IP address. This is in Mountain View, California, in the US. It actually gives the lat and the long, it gives the postal code, gives the time zone, a whole bunch of different information, right? And so that's the thing, is over here for this weather API, right? It either needs the lat or long or the city and state. So if you can get your IP address, you can plug it into one of these database APIs. It'll give you this information. This information you can then send over here. And so basically what we have going on today is I'm using Python to get my IP address. So basically I'm using IPify API. This will get my IP address. I will feed my IP address to ipinfo.io in order to get my city and state or whatever. And then if I was going to continue on, I would send this information over to Open Weather. So basically this is just a simple way to get your geographic location. And it's pretty simple. Again, a whole whopping 11 lines of code. If you code like an Eli, probably get this down to 4 lines of code if you really wanted to. So import requests, right? So request is what we do to go out to URLs. IP address equals request.get http api.ipify.org, right? So this is going to give me my IP address. Now, I am on a VPN. So if you guys are all trying to like hack me, trying to get my super secret IP address, that's not going to work. Let's see here. So I can do the command. I can actually click on that link if I want to, and it'll actually show me my IP address there. But we're going to use request. We're going to use request. And so IP address is going to equal that IP address that we bring in. Then we're going to print IP address.text. So this comes in as an object, and so we want the text of that object. Then what we're going to do is going to get geographic geodata. So once we have our IP address, we're going to do requests, http ipinfo.io. We're going to feed the IP address text in there. With my API token. That's the only thing. That's the only thing with ipinfo.io. They give you 50,000 requests per month for free, which is great. But there does not seem to be a way to replace the API token. So don't hack my API token, please. And if you do, I'll just get a different account. Anyways, then we get that. We can do print geodata.json. So again, this comes back as an object. So we want this as JSON. And then from here, we can then print the city. So print city from geodata JSON city, right? So basically, if I run this, then this is then going to get my IP address through the VPN, right? So it comes in through the VPN then. Gives me an IP address of 69.169.8.70. This is an address in Atlanta, that is in Georgia, that is in the United States, with a lat long over here. Actually tells me who the ISP supposedly is, gives the postal code even, time zone, and the whole 9 yards. And then I can go here and simply print out Atlanta, right? So this gives me my external IP address. Once I have my external IP address, I can get a whole bunch of generic information about my region. So why might this be valuable beyond just the weather API thing? So you can use this essentially for firewalling your web app, right? So if you know all of your users are going to come in from the United States, right? So you have a pizza delivery company, right? You're not gonna deliver to Shanghai, no matter how much money somebody pays you, you're just not gonna deliver a pizza to Shanghai. Well, here's the thing. If you're not gonna deliver a pizza to Shanghai, why is your web app going to accept viewers or visitors from Shanghai, right? So you can actually use something like this and basically do an if-else statement. If the country equals US, go to web app. If country does not equal US, go to CNN.com. You can do that kind of thing. Look, CNN.com needs more help, needs more visitors. Why don't you just send them all your spam traffic, right? So you could use something like this, again, for something like a firewall. You can use something like this. Imagine, again, locally, like one of the big things for web apps is just determining where your users are coming from. Again, imagine if it's that pizza company. Imagine if it's a restaurant, something like that. Think about this as marketing information. If you see the users in your area and there's multiple different towns or multiple zip codes, imagine if you have a pizza shop and you're thinking about expanding your pizza shop somewhere. If you're logging this information for a year or more, you can see where most of the people are coming are coming to your site, maybe from areas that you don't deliver to. And so therefore you can essentially do a heat map and go, oh, okay, I know I need to expand into this area because this is where we're getting the most demand, where we're not actually able to provide for new customers over that way. So you could use this for something like that. And then again, for things like the weather API, for the news API, right? If you want basically a local news feed, there's actually really cool APIs for news, and basically you plug in your geolocation and it just spits out a news feed from your geolocation. So again, this is useful in many ways. Again, one of the things I really want you to be thinking about in this modern world, again, I talk about how precision is fetishized in Silicon Valley at this point, and this idea that you need so much information from people, right? You need to know everything that they do. You don't just need to know when they went to the bathroom. You need to know exactly how many sheets of toilet paper they used when they went to the bathroom, right? One of the things I'm truly not Silicon Valley. Anyways, one of the things that I'll point out is a lot of times you don't actually need that much information. You do not need to the square foot lat long coordinates for your users, right? Most people, almost every 99.999% of the folks out there that actually need geolocation of their users, again, zip code. Zip code is fine. Zip code is probably even more precise than they need, but that's going to be fine enough. And so again, this is a very easy way. And the nice part about this, right, with these IP addresses, is that there's no permission. Again, that sounds horrible, but it's true, right? There's no permission that needs to be done, right? This IP address is used. regardless, right? Like every computer has an IP address, so somebody doesn't have to do permissions or anything like that. You can just grab this IP address relatively easily. Again, it's just a very useful, nice way to get geolocation. So anyways, there you go. A long-winded rant on getting your external IP address and your geolocation from it. Again, when the object comes in, you can use this JSON method, essentially to turn the object into JSON, so that once it's in JSON, you can grab particular values that you want out of it. And again, with this ipfi.org, there's actually a lot of different APIs out there that allow you to get your external IP address. This one is open source and it's free forever, no matter how much you hammer the hell out of it. So that's one of the reasons we'll use ipfi.org. And then for ipinfo.io, they give you 50,000 requests per month. So again, for me, especially doing classes, that's 1,000 times more than I need, frankly. I don't know if we'll use these because I really don't like the fact that I can't just swap those API tokens or those API keys. But it's just one of those. It's a free service out there. There's a lot of these free services out there if you want more information. So anyways, there you go. If you like these types of videos, give us a thumbs up. If you don't like these videos, give us a thumbs up. Share this content, subscribe, do all that cool stuff. And I am continuing to plug along with these classes. And yeah, it's going pretty good. So anyways, see y'all later.